All right, so I want to go over punnet squares a little bit more slowly for those of you that need it, and take it really slow step by step because I know sometimes in class we go very quickly, and I want to make sure that everybody understands this because later units build on this and later quizzes and information. So it's really important that we understand how to do punnet squares because we're going to see this over and over again. Okay, so a couple of things to kind of review with our vocabulary. So if you remember, dominant, that's like the powerful trait. And we always capitalize that and would show it with a big letter to show that it's bigger and stronger. So think of like a dominant trait as kind of like a bully that overpowers. Okay, and recessive, that is kind of a smaller and more hidden trait. And so we use a little b because it's a little bit smaller. And this one is the bully. And think of like the recessive as like a shy trait. Okay. And then I also want to kind of remind us about homozygous and heterozygous versus dominant recessive. So if somebody was homozygous dominant, that means that they would be two. So dominant means that it's a capital. And remember, homozygous means same. So that would mean that they have two big B's. Okay, so that would be homozygous dominant. So homo means same, and dominant means big letter. Okay, and then homozygous recessive, that means that we have homo means same, recessive means lowercase. Okay, so we do it with two little b's. And remember, we do two letters because you have two parents. One of these b's is coming from mom, and one of these b's is coming from dad. Okay? And then heterozygous, that means that you have one of each. So that would mean that you have one big letter for dominant, and you would have one small letter. Okay? All right, so let's say that we crossed two parents, okay, that are heterozygous, okay? So here, so let's say that dad is a big B, little b, and mom is a big B, little b. So mom got one big B from her mom and a little b from her dad. And dad got a big B from one parent and a little b from the other parent. Okay, so we're going to see what's the possible babies made with these two parents. So remember, they got one from each parent, so they can only give one to each child. So we're only going to put one letter above or on the side of each box. Okay, so that's how we set it up. So we have to make sure if you do this, if you do them side by side, then that means that dad's giving two letters. Okay, and that's not the case. Dad only can give one or the other. You get one from mom and one from dad. So when we're filling out these boxes, okay, you're going to combine what's on top to what's on the side. So here I would combine what's on top with what's on the side. Okay, so then what I would write right here, if I took my drawing tool, okay, so here I would write big B, big B. Here, I'll make that a little bit darker. Okay, then we'll do this box. So I'm going to combine what's on top. I always put the big letter first. Okay, so I take this, I combine the top to what's on the side. Okay, so now in this box, I'm going to write big B, little b, because I had big B from the top and I had little b from mom on the side. So with my drawing tool, I'm going to write big B and a little b. Okay, then we're going to do this square. So we're going to combine what's on the top and what's on the side. Okay, so this time, so what's on the top is this, and then what's on the side is this. But like we do when we write our first word in a sentence, like it always starts with a capital letter. So we always want to make sure that we have our capital letter first. Okay. So then I'm going to write that one. So that came out to be big B, little b. So big B from the side this time and little b from the top. And then here I'm going to combine this one from dad and this one from mom. Okay. So then here I'm going to write little b, little b. Okay. All right. So now we're going to kind of practice those like word problems that we had on page 18 in our OneNote. Okay. So now we're going to kind of look at, okay, so now we're going to look at what do these letters code for. So big B is dominant. So that codes for brown eyes. And little b is recessive, which codes for blue eyes. So we use B for the brown because that's the dominant trait. Okay, and here we're going to cross a homozygous brown eyes. So remember, homozygous means same, and it's brown eyes, and brown eyes is big B. So we have two big B's. Okay, and then we're going to cross it with a homozygous blue eyes. So same, but for blue. Okay. All right. So here we're going to combine. If I take the one from the top and the one from the side, okay, that's going to give me big B, little b. So here I'm going to write big B and little b. And then same thing. If I combine the one from the top and this one from the side, that will give me big B and little b. Okay. If I do the one from the top with the one from the side, it will give me big B, little b again. And again, if I do this one from the top with this one from the side, that will give me big B, little b. Okay, so genotypes is just, those are our pairs of letters. So the only genotype that is possible in these four boxes, the only pair that I could make was big B, little b. It wasn't possible for me to make two big B's. It wasn't possible to make two little b's in these boxes here. Okay, and then phenotype is what does it look like? What is the physical appearance? So if somebody has a big B and a little b, big B means brown eyes, little b means blue eyes. Remember, our big letter always wins. That's why it's called dominant. Okay, so that's going to code for brown eyes. Okay, all right. Okay, so we're going to do two more practices. So this time we're going to do homozygous brown eyes. Okay, so that means homozygous means same. Brown is big B. And then we're going to cross heterozygous brown eyes. So remember, heterozygous means one of each. So you have one big B and you have one small b. Okay. So again, we're going to combine what's on the top and what's on the side. So if I combine this one and this one, it's going to make two big B's. I combine what's on the top with what's on the side, that's going to be two big B's. I combine what's on the top with what's on the side, that's big B and little b. And if I combine what's on the top to what's on the side, this box will be big B and little b. So now this time I have two types of genotypes. So there's two pairs that the babies could be. So again, on the top is one parent, on the side is the other parent, but in this box, these four squares are the possible babies. Okay, so the baby could be a big B, or it could be a big B, little b. Okay, so if they have big B, that codes for brown eyes. But if they have big B, little b, this big letter wins. So that still codes, they both code for brown eyes. So here, the only possibility that these babies could be is brown eyes. Okay, so if a baby has blue eyes, two little b's, okay, that's not possible with this parent and this parent. So if there's a baby with blue eyes, that might not be the dad. Okay, all right, so we're going to do one more practice problem and maybe things might start making sense. So we're going to cross a heterozygous brown. So remember how heterozygous means one big letter and one small letter. Okay, with somebody with blue eyes. So blue is little b. Okay, and we know that because they're blue eyes, they have to have two little b's. So the way that we know that is if they had one little b for blue and they had a big B, this big B is going to overpower it and make them have brown eyes. So that wouldn't be blue eyes. Okay, so the only way that you can see the blue eyes is if there's no capital letter to power over it. So that means that both of your letters, one from mom, one from dad, have to be lowercase. Okay, so again, we're going to combine from the parent on top. So we get one from this parent and one from this parent. So we have our big B, little b. Okay, and then if it was this one that the parent gave with this one, so this one from dad with that one from mom, then we would have a little b, little b. Okay, if we got this one from dad, but this one from mom, it would be big B, little b. And if we got this one from dad and this one from mom, it'd be little b, little b. So again, in our possible babies, okay, so 50%, so you have a 50% chance of having big B, okay, and you have a 50% chance of having a little b, okay? So with these parents, they have a 50% chance of having a baby, 2 out of 4 chances of having a baby with brown eyes, big B, little b equals brown. Okay. And they have a 50% chance, 2 out of 4 of their baby having two little b's, which codes for blue eyes. Okay. All right, so I hope that that kind of helped clear it up, going a little bit slower and more step by step. And again, if you guys have any questions, please make sure that you go into study hall with your teacher and then they can go even slower if need be. Okay? All right, keep working hard, guys.